This week in Jamaica Now.
I don't believe in the death penalty, but for this one I have to make an exception.
Death penalty quarrel. Lawmaker at the center of debate over whether a man accused of cutting the throats of a mother and her 4 children should be hanged. And the murder accused has been implicated in an alleged sex crime involving a minor. No SOE extension in St Catherine. The government backs down after threats from the Opposition PNP. Still on the run. Police hunting teen boy over the killing of his child's mother. And the JPS wins long battle with Hope Pastures residents over underground power supply. I'm Jovan Johnson and this is Jamaica Now. A very heated debate is underway in Jamaica over whether Roshane Barnett, who is accused of murdering a 31-year-old mother and her 4 children, should face the death penalty. Director of Public Prosecutions Paula Llewellyn served notice on the 23-year-old man that her office will seek his execution if he is convicted for the crimes. The DPP says the notice was issued now because the law requires that the accused be informed of the intention at the earliest opportunity. However, leading human rights group Jamaicans for Justice JFJ has urged caution on the threat of execution. JFJ's Executive Director Michael Jackson says she understands the public outcry and the legal position of the DPP. But Ms. Jackson says mitigating factors such as Barnett's alleged confession have to be considered before any contemplation of death. That has not gone down well with Robert Morgan, the Member of Parliament for Clarendon North Central, the constituency in which the victims lived. He says although he does not believe in the death penalty, he's willing to make an exception in Mr. Barnett's case.
This guy should never see the light of day. And though his death will not bring back our family members, I think we need to send a clear signal to the murderers out there that we're very serious, and if you take a life in this way, you should not keep yours. I don't care about them human rights because JFJ is not here. We're all here today. You see none of them human rights people here, so? None of them are here. None of them are grieving with the family. So my decision is I am with the victims. You can go and advocate on behalf of criminals. I am advocating on behalf of the people who have been murdered.
He was speaking at a vigil held this week in the New Road Cocoa Peace community, where Kamisha Wright and her 4 children were slaughtered, allegedly by their cousin. But some defense lawyers are against the DPP's move. Queen's Counsel K.D. Knight said one word captured the prosecution's intent: hype.
What we need to know is what are the steps taken to satisfy the requirement in relation to time within which the case must conclude, including appeal to international bodies. Because it's not just applying for, death penalty. It is a matter of the case being concluded within a time frame inclusive of appeal to an international body.
But another senior attorney, Oswest Senior Smith, said he supports the push for the death penalty. He says it would send a strong message to society. The last execution in Jamaica was in 1988, and since then the country's highest court, the Privy Council, has ruled that the death penalty must be reserved for cases that were the rarest of the rare and worst of the worst, in addition to the accused being incapable of being reformed. And there have been several other developments involving Mr. Barnett. The Supreme Court has assigned a lawyer, Tamika Harris, to represent him. And the Independent Commission of Investigations, INDECOM, has launched a probe into allegations that Mr. Barnett was assaulted while in police custody. During his first court appearance on Tuesday, Mr. Barnett complained to the judge that the police at the lockup where he was staying had been beating him and had refused to take him to the doctor. Justice Leighton Pusey told him that he was innocent until proven guilty and further advised him that he could report the matter to his lawyer. 31-year-old Kamisha Wright and her children, 15-year-old Commander Smith, 12-year-old Sharalee Smith, 5-year-old Rafaela Smith and 23-month-old Kishawn Henry Jr. were discovered inside their home with chop wounds and their throats slashed on June 21. News came Friday that Mr. Barnett is facing another run-in with the law after he was served identification parade forms in relation to a case involving a minor. It's alleged that he had sex with an underage girl. The hunt is still on for a 17-year-old boy who is wanted in the killing of teenager Devonese Nelson, the mother of his child, in Denhamtown, Kingston. Eric Brandon Murdoch and Nelson shared a 4-month-old baby. 2 men who were named persons of interest in the case have since reported to the police. One of them was Tevin Cross, the uncle of Mr. Murdoch. Divisional Commander Senior Superintendent Michael Phipps says Mr. Cross was interviewed and released. Another man, Shaquille Stanbury from Bottom Pen in Glendevon, St. James, is being questioned. Miss Nelson's nude body was found with a gunshot wound to the head on June 26 in an apartment at the Kings Heights housing complex in Denhamtown. The 10th grade Denhamtown High School student lived on North Street. However, she reportedly went to the location to visit Mr. Murdoch, who lives with his uncle. The government did not seek the extension of the state of emergency SOE in St Catherine that expired on Thursday. 2 days before, National Security Minister Dr. Horace Chang told the House of Representatives that the continuation of the security measure would not be sought because the situation of violence has improved. It came days after the opposition People's National Party indicated that it would not support the extension. The SOE could not be extended without the support of at least one opposition senator. Opposition leader Mark Golding says the decision was sensible given questions surrounding the constitutionality of the regulations to govern the SOE. He says a zone of special operations should be implemented instead. Dr. Chang says more time will be given to working out the proposed regulations. President of the St Catherine Chamber of Commerce, Dennis Robotham, has criticized the move while questioning the results of the 14-day SOE imposition. According to Mr. Robotham, the internal gang feuds that drove the declaration are still festering. The police have charged 37-year-old O'Meal Kilquick Richards with the robbery of approximately $22 million from couriers employed to security firm Beryllium in Kingston last month. It's alleged that sometime after midday on June 8, the employees of Beryllium, formerly guardsmen, were transporting money when their vehicle reportedly developed mechanical problems along Jackson Road in Rollington Town. The police say while fixing the vehicle, a motorcar stopped beside them and Richards and another man armed with guns alighted from the vehicle. The employees allegedly ran in different directions, leaving the armored truck behind. The alleged robbers fled the scene with approximately $22 million. Residents of Hope Pastures were left shocked Thursday after the Supreme Court ruled that the Jamaica Public Service Company JPS was not obligated by law to cover the replacement cost for underground power supply in the upscale St Andrew community. They were also gutted that the court declined them damages. Householders had been embroiled in a decade-long dispute with the JPS over the matter. They sought a mandatory injunction from the court for JPS to restore and maintain the original underground supply that had been installed by a private developer more than half a century ago. 33 of the residents were also seeking approximately $19 million in special damages for costs incurred in either connecting to overhead lines or sourcing alternative means of electricity. But Justice Crescentia Brown Beckford dismissed the residents' claim. She said the power company's statutory obligation did not include liability for an underground system that she accepted had outlived its usefulness. The Statistical Institute of Jamaica Statin is reporting that the economy grew by 8.2% for fiscal year 2021-2022 compared to the previous year. This was aided by a 6.4% outturn between January and March this year compared to the similar period last year. Statin says economic activity was positively impacted by the easing of COVID-19 containment measures, including the withdrawal of the Disaster Risk Management Order during the period. And that's it for this edition of Jamaica Now, your weekly review of the big news stories. Send us your comments at onlinefeedback@gleanerjm.com. Follow us on Twitter and Instagram at Jamaica Gleaner and on Facebook at Gleaner Jamaica. Like this video on our YouTube page, turn on your notification and subscribe today. I'm Jovan Johnson, and before we go, let's revisit the candlelight vigil held this week in honor of Kamisha Wright and her 4 children who were slaughtered at their home in Clarendon last month.
I quickly just want to say, especially to the immediate family members, that we're here for you, that we understand the challenge that you're facing at this time, and that from the Community Safety and Security Branch of the Clarendon Police Division, you have a shoulder that you can lean on. You have been seeing us, and you will continue to see us, because we care.
Words will never be sufficient to soothe the hearts of persons. We, the police, and also members of the Jamaica Defence Force, we mourn with the family members, we mourn with the community. But one thing I want to say for sure, I gave you, the community members, a charge when this incident took place. I spoke with you and said to you, help us to solve this crime. And you responded. You responded in every way, shape, and form. And I want to also thank the people of Jamaica who would have responded and also assist in actually bringing this situation to some amount of closure. Although sometimes the perpetrator of this crime, we all know that by now, you must have heard that he would have actually confessed to the crimes actually that he would have committed. You would have actually heard also what DPP would have put forward and heard that they are seeking the death penalty. This is something that we have to wait the process and let the justice system take its course. Whatever is the outcome, ladies and gentlemen, you, the people of Chapelton, and also the other citizens of Jamaica would have responded. And that is why he is behind bars.
Our society is becoming a very wicked place sometimes. We just have to look out for each other. When you see something or you see something that looks like it's getting out of hand, or even a hint of something, but it's very hard because no one would even think that your own cousin, who has essentially confessed, that your own cousin will do this to you and to your children. I mean, how do you even think about that? How do you even, in your mind, process that sort of thing? Like, it don't make no sense. But we just have to just watch out for each other and look out for each other. And the other thing we need to think about is think about the people you're bringing into your community and into your home.
We are at a spot now where we see persons calling for different type of justice, sir. We are part of the policymaker and to some extent. What is your views as to the ruling?
Well, the DPP said she wants the death penalty. I don't believe in the death penalty, but for this one I have to make an exception. This guy should never see the light of day. And though his death will not bring back our family members, I think we need to send a clear signal to the murderers out there that we're very serious, and if you take a life in this way, you should not keep yours. I don't care about them human rights because JFJ is not here. We're all here today. You see none of them human rights people here, so? None of them are here. None of them are grieving with the family. So my decision is I am with the victims. You can go and advocate on behalf of criminals. I am advocating on behalf of the people who have been murdered. Because when the people are murdered, I don't see no human rights people coming into the communities and doing no counseling. I don't see them coming in here and consoling anybody. I don't see them sending out no press release on behalf of the victims. So I'm not saying human rights people are not important, because we have some really terrible things that happen in our society. But where's the balance? Where's the balance? What about the rights of the people who are victims of criminals? Who is defending those rights? So, the DPP is going to do our job, the courts are going to do their job, but I support what the DPP has said she wants to.